dude out. Dude drags the dude out the fucking laundry room. They're fighting. Then he pulls him out of that joint. The Crip dude pulls the Spanish guy out, and they mixing. He ends up knocking him out. He knocked the Spanish guy out, or Puerto Rican guy out. Like, you know, like the railing that's around the edges of the tier, the bottom has that metal plate. There's like a metal plate that the bars go into. Yo, he drug dude over to that joint, laid his head on that joint, and jumped off his head like 10 times, man.
So you're in Canaan. I know you're working in Unicor, man. You get into a little bit of a scuffle, whatever. Dude hits you, and you end up knocked out or knocked down. What happens, brother?
Well, no, the scuffle wasn't at Canaan. The scuffle was at FCI Cumberland.
Okay.
But I was also at Canaan. At Cumberland, I was in Unicor. One of my workers, we was in there working in the paint shop, and we got to arguing, and the shit got out of control. Dude actually put his hands on me, so I pick up a motherfucking 2x4. I start chasing him around the joint, and you know, we're in the back, so it's like a side room, like, you know, if you look at it, it's a factory that you work in where inmates working. It's like a good paying job, best paying job you can get, you know, in the system, probably, you know, like as far as getting money on your books, you know what I mean? Unicor is one of the best jobs. So we're in the back. It's like an off area. We used to make government seals, like, you know, Homeland Security and shit like that. We get to arguing. Anyway, he put his hands on me like he mugged me. So I picked up a fucking 2x4, start chasing him. He gets one, and we're like, you know, face to face with it. I swing, I catch him, but I don't catch him flush. And he catches me flush. I go down, and I don't know how long I was down for, but when I came up, I threw my 2x4. Now imagine trying to throw a 2x4. It's not a fucking baseball or football. I try to throw it, and one of the staff members saw it. And then we go to the they take us out. We go to the hole. Now, mind you, nobody's really saying shit still. They took me out. They took him out, and I had on a hat, a Scully, right? So you can't really see shit. I'm not bleeding or nothing. Get the medical. The lady's like, you know, so I'm taking all my shit off. I ain't take my motherfucking hat off because I know I got a lump on my shit. Like, you could tell, you know, when you can tell when something ain't right, and you can feel it. So I'm like, I finally take off my hat. They said, nah, y'all wasn't horseplaying. And we tried to do the horseplay thing, and they, you know, they ended up putting us in the hole. And of course, you know, one gets shipped, one stay. You know what I'm saying? And I came back out. I ain't stay long though. When I came back out, I ended up getting transferred after that for having a knife.
Let me ask you this though, right? I mean, you get in a fight in Unicor. You know, a lot of dudes, man, they trying to lose their job. Or you thinking like, damn, I lost my job?
Well, I mean, I honestly, they put me in there because I had a high fine, or like my fine was you know, when you first go, if you got a fine, it's like $1,000, you automatically can get in Unicor. So I went there for that. I mean, but I still was fucking with tickets and anything else. I'm trying to steal everything that ain't bolted down. I'm trying to fucking get pens out and whatever. Bro, I went in there. I was 20-something years old, man, and I wasn't trying to do right. I was, you know, I was a cut up. You know what I'm saying? I was fucking in the middle of everything. At one point, man, I was in there selling knives. I didn't think about what that could have brought to me at that age.
What prison were you selling knives at?
Cumberland, Maryland.
A lot of DC dudes over there.
DC and Mexicans.
Who were your best customers?
I'll say Be More.
Baltimore dude. So you sell a knife, you make a knife. What are you making the knives inside of Unicor?
No, when I after that, I went to facilities. So, you know, very crafty. I'm very crafty. You know what I mean? One of the I say probably the joint I got caught with was like 13 inches. It was like a bone crusher type situation. Off the vacuum cleaner, off the axle, off the vacuum cleaner. So mind you, you know, it's like this and it goes up, so you have to flatten it. I was flattening this shit in there, and I had actually got it out of there. I had a couple of them. I got it out, but I had to take it back, or for whatever reason I had it on me or something. I think I was stashing it, bro, in a soda machine. This when they had soda machines on the compound. So we still had vending machines. This is like 2003. And some dude told them that I put it in the soda machine. So, you know, he was acting weird that day. I seen him. I think he was working with SIS or some shit, man. I don't even like it was weird. So I go out of there, I go back to facilities, I leave, I slide out. They stop me at the door and they call me like, yo, Shite. And I'm like, I go back and they like step in this room. And then they patted me down and I had the shit on me. And then I knew I wasn't coming back. So I know it was this guy, this white guy, he was from Cali and he faked like he was like, you know, affiliated, but really he really wasn't. You know, he from Cali, he way over here on the East Coast. We already know it's probably something, you know, some reasons to that. You know what I'm saying? You know, white dude, he ain't a dirty white boy, he ain't an AB, you know, he had the handlebar mustache and shit, like trying to fit in with, you know, Mexicans, but it was him and some other dudes too, though. Like these other two dudes, one of the dudes was on my block, and I know he said something too. So I started yelling their fucking names out. SIS got me handcuffed at the motherfucking door. I know I just got in a fight. I come out from a fight. Now I'm caught with a fucking joint. I know I ain't coming back now. So I'm like, fuck it. I started yelling, yeah, such and such told. I start yelling their names out. They try to give me a cite and a riot. I sat in the hole for like, I want to say 9 months for that. They tried to get me indicted. They sent the knife to Baltimore, and the feds kept shooting it back. You know what I'm saying? They didn't take it. But honestly, to be all honesty, it wasn't that sharp.
Let me ask you this, right? You're selling knives. What does a knife cost in federal prison back then?
I mean, you might probably $5, whatever. I don't know. I mean, you know, you might get 5, 10 books, 4 books, whatever. And it was me. I had inherited a gambling habit when I got there because gambling is a way of survival. If you ain't got money coming in like that and shit, you know, you start gambling. I was playing tickets, and the tickets is like, bro, I mean, it's just like fucking a casino. You know what I mean? I mean, now gambling is legal everywhere. It's on the phone. But you know, back then going into a prison, I came from a state prison in PA that wasn't that wide open. It was more secure. You know what I'm saying? So you didn't see, like, just for example, up there, the gambling thing was like, they only had 4 picks. You feel me? So when I get to the feds, they got 1 pick, 2 picks, 3 picks, teasers, like shit. I'm like, it was just a total different thing. I already was upstate for like a year and a half, and then I went to the feds. And also the movement. Like in the state, you got to have a pass to go everywhere. You got to get a written, you know, it's everything's, you know. So when I get to the feds and I'm like, yo, I'm trying to go to the library. They like, I like, can I get a pass? They like, what? Just go the fuck up there on the move. I didn't understand, like, because it was coming from them 2 different, you know, and even though Cumberland wasn't no violent spot. I mean, like, you know, one of the claim to fame when you first got there back then at that time was nobody never was killed on this compound. Now I think somebody has been killed at FCI Cumberland.
Let me rewind you a little bit though. So, you know, a knife back then might cost you anywhere between $25 to $50, and you're the guy selling them.
Right.
And you know, you talk about, hey man, you know, it could have got you jammed up. What could have happened if people would have found out you were selling knives or your car? Would they have done something to you?
Honestly, like, so you said car, and I'm glad you said that. I'm from Carlisle, PA. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, I got my shit on, like, I mean, and I affiliate with like Harrisburg and like Central PA, like York, you know, just towns in Central PA. When you're on the East Coast, I feel like, and that's the only places I've been to, that cities are separated. You know, because I know you've been other places, and you might go to a place where now it's an East Coast car, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to a city car. We really didn't have no car. Like it was like maybe 3 or 4 of us really from my area. So there was no car. And it wasn't, you know, you might have been cool with some dudes from Philadelphia and shit like that you just talk to or cool with, you know what I mean? And make, you know, acquaintances with, but it wasn't no car. You know what I mean? So basically, what the question you're asking me, what could happen? Well, if I'm giving stuff to one crew, and then people find out I'm the dude doing it, they might try to come get me out the way. You know.
So what if you sold a knife? What if you would have sold a knife to a Mexican? How would the blacks have reacted if they found?
Oh yeah, that you can't do that. Yeah, you can't do that.
Did you ever sell Mexicans a knife?
No, I only fucked with Baltimore on that situation. It wasn't like I was. Nah, I wasn't. I don't want to paint the picture of like I
Yeah.
was just arming everybody. No, I fucked with a couple dudes from Baltimore.
So anyway, you end up getting caught with that knife. You get transferred. Where do you end up in Canaan that time?
No, they sent me to Allenwood. I went to Allenwood, Penn. And honestly, the point system was different then before they did that transfer over with the points. They didn't have to send me to a Penn. They did. They didn't have to. They did it because the warden was highly upset. I mean, came to my door in the hole and was like, "You're getting charged." I mean, I was like, yo, I was like, man, I'm like in my head, I'm like, man, motherfuckers ain't got stabbed in this joint. They going back to the compound. I'm in my head, I'm like, he's like, no, you're gonna be the first fucking one. I'm like, yo, you know how they come around every Friday though and do the in the hole, they do the rounds, but like, yeah, and then when they first booked me and they took me up to the lieutenant's office, I already yelled out the dudes' names I thought told on me. So now they got like 15 dudes from facilities. They brought them to the hole too for like yelling and screaming and shit and trying to find out who the dudes were. So like, they're in the cages. I get to the hole, they take me out to the rec yard. There's like 15 dudes from facility, like, damn, yo, they brought us over here too, dog. Like, it's like, it was a crazy joint. Like they let them back out though. They didn't that was some bullshit. That wasn't no inciting a riot. I was just, I just said, fuck it. I'm not coming back. I might as well just go all out and just yell out who fucking told on me. What the fuck? Who cares? I know I was not coming back to that compound after that. So the warden, when I went in there, I forget his name, man, but his face was beat red. I mean, he was fucking on fire. And they must have had found another one of those ones that I got caught with on a unit. They found it. So now it's like, okay, you done made more than one of these. This type. I mean, because you can use anything. I mean, motherfucker, you can use a screw. A screw already has a point. You know what I mean? So a screw is easy to manipulate with sandpaper once because it already has that point. I mean, it's whittled already to that point, and then you just get the fucking the threads off of it. I mean, like I said, when you broke, man, though, and you ain't got shit coming in, or it's coming in sporadically. I mean, motherfucker do what they gotta do. Like, I was just that's just my mindset. And as I got older, I started learning that certain shit can cause you way more turmoil than benefits. So I got away from that type of shit. Now I went to Allenwood, then I started seeing murders, and there was a couple murders over there and serious assaults. That like woke me up a little bit to reality of what the fuck's really going on. Because Cumberland really wasn't that bad. Like Cumberland was, like I said, bro, a college campus. I mean, you got fucking trees everywhere. You got fucking vending machines up by the commissary. It wasn't a bad place. Allenwood was meek. You know what I mean? You're not seeing shit. You just see up in the air. And we know Allenwood is not one of the worst pens. They did have weights there. But there was some murders there. It did get busy there. There's shit happened. I mean, I'm walking, motherfuckers start beefing. They fall down in like a little ravine type thing or whatever. They start throwing flashbangs at these guys. You know what I mean? These guys are out there mixing it up in the yard. So.
One of the wildest things you've seen at Allenwood. Did you actually see someone get killed?
No, I didn't see someone get killed. I thought I saw someone get killed though. And I won't say like I don't want to say like names and stuff like that, just but it was a situation with a brother from two people from Jersey, a Puerto Rican kid and a black kid. Black kid was Crip, and I want to say he was also Muslim. And the Puerto Rican kid was, I don't know. He was Puerto Rican. I don't know if, I don't know what his tie was. I don't know if he was, most likely he was from Jersey, but I know he was in a Jersey car. Nevertheless, it was over the laundry. Somebody cut somebody in the laundry. We came out from count, mind you. So, when you come out from count, the guards unlocking all the doors. And some people that haven't been to federal prison, it's not like a prison where they can buzz every door at the same time. The guard has to physically go man every door and open it. And it takes a little bit of, a few minutes. So they come out. Mind you, I'm just really getting here. I've probably been here a couple months. They nobody goes on a tear. Like everybody's lined up on the edges. Like, so people knew shit was going on. Dude drags the dude out. Dude drags the dude out the fucking laundry room. They're fighting. Then he pulls him out of that joint. And the Crip dude pulls the Spanish guy out, and they mixing. He ends up knocking him out. He knocked the Spanish guy out, or Puerto Rican guy out. And like, you know, like the railing that's around the edges of the tier, the bottom has that metal plate. There's like a metal plate that the bars go into. Yo, he drug dude over to that joint, laid his head on that joint, and jumped off his head like 10 times, man. Like I'm saying,
like some American History X type of shit.
I thought he was dead. And so nobody went on the tier. Mind you, the guard is still unlocking the fucking doors through all of this shit. This is my first time seeing some real wild shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, really, like somebody, he didn't accomplish death, but I thought, I mean, because dude wasn't moving. So now the Crip boy, he gets out the way. He goes wherever he's, you know, and somebody else is trying to mop up blood off the floor. The guard comes down. The guard probably played a motherfucking ticket because he comes down and looks at ESPN trying to look at the score thing at the bottom of the main, at the little scores. Then he walks back towards the office and he see no one came on the tier. He looked around like, just shrugged his shoulders. I'm watching him the whole time to see what the fuck he's doing. He goes in the office and sees dude's feet laying over there by where the dude got knocked out at. And then he hit the deuces or whatever, and we got locked down. But that was probably the first crazy shit that I saw, like that was, you know, damn near like a somebody got taken out. You know what I'm saying? There was murder there. That it was with Native Americans. I believe someone else spoke on it too on the show. There was a vicious murder there. A dude got hit like 30 times. An old guy named Chief. And it was right out front of my block. You know how they do fall count. If you're in the pen, you got to walk through the corridor. I ain't go eat that day because the walk is much further if you got to go through the corridor. We were in like one building and you got to walk all the way around the whole, like, you know, and I didn't go. Another one thing I used to get milks and sell milks and shit like that. So I didn't go that day and they got the dude out of there. We were locked down for about a week and a half or like 2 weeks for that, I think.
They stab him for?
It was some interpersonal shit with them. They were, I guess, trying to get someone else. And dude said, no, we're peaceful people. And, you know, then he got it too. And he died. I mean, I don't know what happened to the other guy. I believe the other guy also was injured, but I'm not sure if it was two people died. I know that Chief died. Chief was on my block.
See him like dead? Like it's over?
No, I ain't, nah. Because all I know is that they did breakfast and then we were locked down, like, you know, after that, like, you know, you hear him saying locking down and shit like that. And nobody know what's going on. We don't know if it's still from fall count at that point. You know what I'm saying? Then you start hearing the whispers. They came around. They was, you know, they talked to you. You know what I'm saying? They come to the door like, yo, we're going to be on lockdown. We had an incident. You know what I mean? Things like that. We were locked down for a minute. Then I think they got all the natives off the yard after that at Allenwood.
Did you ever have any interaction with Chief in the unit? Hey, what's up, man? You ever talk to him, tell him a card you made, anything?
Nah, at that point I didn't do cards. But I mean, I probably said hi to him before. I mean, you know, he lived back in the corner cell. He had his cellie was from Philadelphia, older Italian guy. So, you know, and I spoke to him too, the Italian, his cellie, you know what I'm saying? Like, I knew who he was. I mean, it's, you know, we're on the block together, you know what I'm saying? Like, I knew who he was.
Like to be out, you know, you talk to a dude, say hello, whatever. He lives not too far down from you. And then, you know, he ends up getting, you know, murked in prison. What does it do to you mentally and emotionally? Do you think like, damn, man?
I mean, yeah, you just wake up like, shit, this is where I'm at. This shit get real. Like, you know what I mean? And then to know, to afterwards hear like, yo, it wasn't even his issue. He just wanted to keep the peace with the people. I don't even know what the issue was. I don't know, like, because it's not my business. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really like dig too far into. I just know that the ending of it was he just tried to stop it from happening, and him trying to stop it, whatever happened, they were so adamant that nah, this dude got to go, and since you intervened, you got to go. You know what I mean?
How about the Spanish kid when you see him kind of get his head kicked in? What does that do to you upstairs in your head?
Another thing, like I said, is just like it's you know, it's just like wow. You know what I mean? You just like over, you know, and we knew what that was over because you heard him saying, yo, I was next, you know, shit like that. And it's like, motherfucker will take you out, man. If you, and, you know, and they, and listen, they were homies. Inadvertently, they both was from New Jersey. And Jersey didn't have a big car there. Now, like I said, the other dude, he had, you know, some other alliances, but he still was from New Jersey, though. So at the end of the day, they was from the same area. They probably was from the same city, to be honest. Because like I said, I would probably say they was from Newark. You know what I'm saying? But you know, when you know, a lot of times too, you could get into it with a homie. I guess you know what I mean. I had you know got into it with one of my cellies was from my city, and you know we from a little area, and of all people to get into something with. You know, a guy that I had this guy move from a whole nother unit and we end up getting into it. Just over just dumb disagreements. Went to the whole and we, you know, we did the horse playing thing, so we didn't get written up for a fight, you know what I'm saying? We kept it G like that. And they let us back out, they let us back in the unit, you know what I'm saying? Because we said horse playing. But you know, it's just sometimes it be like that. I don't know. They shit was way more serious though, because dude, like once you move a motherfucker and you try to lay his head on some shit and you jumping off his shit, I mean, you clearly trying to seriously injure this motherfucker or take him the fuck out of the existence. I don't.
For sure. I mean, there's been some vicious stuff that happens at Allenwood. It's one of the better pens, but there's been a lot of shit that's happened there, right?
Right. Now I heard that they changed Allenwood to a dropout. I had a friend who's over there and they ended up moving them. He got moved to Canaan and then now he's in the FCI, but they changed that joint to a dropout situation, I believe, or something like that, like a program type situation. Like,
you see this stuff happening, do you decide, hey, I probably should have a knife on me or no?
I
already have a knife,
right? I honestly though, I never really had one for me. And that could have just been me not being, you know, aware enough. I don't, you know what I mean? And I wasn't doing that shit at Allenwood. I did that at Cumberland. That was the only place I did that at. When I went to Allenwood, you know, I was there for like 15, 16 months and then I got moved. And then I got moved to Canaan. But because Canaan was not a pen when it first opened. Because you know when they
let me ask you something though, because you know some people are like, come on, man, you're making knives, you don't have one. Look, I know dudes just like you. You know, you were selling milks, you're hustling, you're trying to get a couple dollars any way you can. But places like Allenwood, you don't necessarily need a knife. But did you wake up when you got to the pen like, man, I definitely ain't selling no knives in the pen?
I mean, I think that because I fucked up at Cumberland. You know what I mean? So like, you know, when you go in, you're trying to get your points to go lower so you can get to a lower institution where it's more lenient and more movement and more freedom. I went backwards, you know, and then I got family too, so that I'm in touch with and shit like that. And I think that when I went there, that I was like, damn, I fucked up because I realized that Cumberland was sweet. Once you get to somewhere else and you see like this shit is crazy, this shit is different, you know what I mean? And it's more secure and shit like that. So and just the scenery, you know, the scenery at Cumberland was relaxing, man. It didn't look like any place I had ever been as far as being in a prison. You know what I'm saying? So then when I get to Allenwood, it's different. You know what I mean? So my mindset now was, I'm trying to get back to an FCI. You know what I mean? And I chilled out up there. I did have one incident up there with a drug investigation where I went to the hole for a couple months. Nothing was brought in, but I got tied in with somebody else. He made a phone call, then I called abroad, and then they come down and locked me the fuck up for like 4 months. And they was like, we know nothing came in, but you know, it was just that whole, you know, sitting in the hole for a couple months over there. But like I said, I was only there for like 15, 16 months. And then I went to Canaan. And Canaan was
listen, we're gonna get to Canaan in a second, right? Let's talk a little bit about the drug game in prison a little bit, right? Because like I said, I know what type of dude you are. Just from talking to you so far, I know.
Right.
So, you know, you're getting a couple of hours, you're trying to make money, you're trying to survive. And, you know, there's always a dude in prison, man. It's like the hustle man. You kind of remind me of one of the hustle mans.
Right.
So the drug trade, you get on the phone with the girl, whatever, allegedly, what are they saying supposed to happen?
I had a homie that was getting released and he was trying to make a move and he knew somebody. So, but this clown, like, he made a call on the counselor's phone, like thinking that it was sweet. And then he gets booked. I don't know. He goes to the hole. I see, like, one night we're at the gym. They come take him. We're at the gym. He's supposed to get released like the next day. They come just take him out the gym. I don't like, it's just one guard though, so it didn't look suspicious. He goes to the motherfucking hole, and I don't know what happened. So I had to put his girl's number on the list, right? The girl, you know what I mean? So this was, back then it took some time. It wasn't, you had to put the bubble sheet. You couldn't, there was no computers yet to add your own shit. And like 4 days later, the number gets on my list. I call her and I said, damn, did you see bro yet? And she's like, nah, he ain't, he's still in there. I'm like, what? He ain't in here? Fucking me, he ain't here. He's up there somewhere. I don't know. He's not out here. Oh, before the conversation gets finished, I say something in the sense of, did you come see the white boy? Because it was a white dude who was, gonna do everything else. You know what I'm saying? And I said that, and at 4:30 they was at my door 6 deep.
You had the white dude allegedly supposed to go on a visit and get hit with the bag,
right?
And he's gonna bring it back. And
so when I say, did you see the white dude? Listen, they was on my ass 4:30. They come lock me the fuck up. They take me to the box. They don't tell me why though. I didn't know for a week. Dude's in the hole though. The dude, my homie, he's in the hole. But I go in the cell. I'm in the cell. It's 3 people. They, Allenwood, they had 3-man cells in the hole. So they like, nah, dude's across the hall. So I'm like, what you mean? He's like, yeah, he's across the hall. So we get to talking on the gate, and we go to the yard, and he basically, bro, like, he just like, man, they told everything, or they know everything. That's it. I'm like, bro, hold on, bro. What did you say, bro? What did you say? They know everything. This is what he keeps saying. And I'm just like, man, listen. Yeah. So, me, I'm still like, listen, man. Now, finally, like a week later, whatever, week and a half, they come, SIS comes, they bring actually a real investigator, right? And I'm going to tell you the funniest shit, because I had the visiting form filled out. I shoot the visiting form out to my peoples, and my peoples, I had them send the visiting form back instead of having the girl do it, because she was going to drag her motherfucking feet. So when they bring this investigator, I always find this story funny, because he comes in, he's like, yeah, I'm an investigator. I just go from Lewisburg to Allenwood. I investigate criminal, indictments for different things in prisons. And he's telling me all this shit. And I'm like, look, man, I was just trying to get dude to visit. But my peoples I kept pressing them on the phone, like, yo, did you send a form yet? Did you send a form? And my people say, why you care? You ain't getting the fucking visit. This is what they say to me on the phone. I'm like, yo, just send that shit as soon as you can. Like, send it, please send it. So when the investigator comes, I'm giving him all this shit. I was just trying to get through the visit. I know him, you know what I mean? And he got this fucking leather fucking notepad, real, nice pen, probably cost fucking $75. He's, real put together type situation. And he slams his notebook shut and said, even your grandmother knew. Because she asked you, why do you care about the visit? Like, I was like, I just was like, man. And they didn't do nothing. Like I said, there was no write-up or nothing. It was an investigation. They just sat me down there for like 4 months. They do the 90 days, then they restarted it. Then after another 30 days, they let me back on the compound.
Who were they supposed to bring in? Allegedly.
I mean, bro, I'm gonna be honest with you. I would have probably think some pills, but dude was trying to call himself doing us a favor because he was going home. So, but he went about it in a reckless way, talking on the counselor phone, thinking it wasn't being tapped or being, monitored, you know what I'm saying? And then that shit just blew up, you know what I'm saying? And it was, like I said, that was my only situation really over there. I was down there for about 4 or 5 months maybe, and then I went back to the yard, and I stayed there like another maybe year, and then Canaan opened. So,
you get shipped to Canaan because they're kind of running it like an FCI, moving dudes over.
And they were trying to get, they were trying to put people in there. And when I get to Canaan, it's only 3 blocks open. So, I mean,
was that 2007, 2008?
2006.
Okay.
They changed over and 8 to a pen. And Canaan was, like you said, the hustle man, right? So Canaan was open opportunity. There's only 3 blocks open. and I became the ticket typer. I was the main, I'm typing every ticket in the institution. And if I don't get to the library, a ticket ain't coming out. Like that's how bad it was because I had to learn how to do that too because the staff at the school would, they would if you get caught, you know what I mean, they're gonna, you getting booked.
So, I mean, hey, look, like I said, bro, you were the hustle, man. You're typing the ticket.
Right.
You're selling milks. You're working on getting the visit set up. You're trying to make a couple dollars.
I always stayed that mentality. And kind of like when we talked on the phone about, where I'm from, my town, my city, it always breeded a hustler mentality. There has been, there's violence there, but it's not like, inner city violence. But it's a lot of hustlers that came from out of my area, out of my city, and my town. I say town because it's a smaller area, but it's just that mentality. You know what I'm saying? And you got to think I'm the only dude probably, at Canaan, and even at Allenwood. I mean, there was one other person there that was from where I'm from in the whole joint. You know what I'm saying? At Allenwood. And when I was at Cumberland, one other person. Then like I went back on a violation later. It was one other person. There's not a lot of us at the jail at the same time. I mean, depending where you might be at, if you got 5, that's a lot.
Let me ask you this, right? You're in Canaan. Were you there when that thing happened in the gym with all the Spanish dudes?
Yeah, I was there.
2008. What was that like?
So I worked in the gym. I worked in rec, and I taught a Scrabble class.
Okay, inside look. You were in the gym when it happened?
No, I wasn't there when it happened. I'm gonna tell you like what that day, as far as my interaction with that story, with that situation when the Mexicans went at it with the Latin Kings. I worked in the gym. And I taught like a songwriting class. I mean, we incorporated this shit into the to the BOP now. Like we started a songwriting class. So they put CD players in there and they gave us instrumental CDs and dudes could go up there and write raps and shit like that. Hold on, because this shit keep coming up on here. But yeah, so my bad. So I go up to the gym that day. It was holiday games. I was gonna do the Scrabble tournament. I mean, I'm a vicious Scrabble player. Like it's one of my other survival modes. But it's hard to catch people in that joint. Once they realize you're better than them, it's not gonna last long. But anyway, I go up to the gym and the guards in the thing right there. He's like, I was like, yo, I got to do the Scrabble tournament. He said, nah, go back to your block. You don't work tonight. You good? You off? I said, you sure? Because I don't want to get no write up or a shot for not going to work. No, listen, your boss knows what's going on. You don't got to work today. So I go back to the block. You know what I mean? And shortly after that shit kicked off. Like they let that shit happen. They let it happen, like flat out. They let that shit go down because
it was pretty vicious, right?
Yeah, and I think that it had been going on for a day or so. And I seen like a Mexican and a Latin King face to face up there arguing, and the little Mexican said, he was standing his ground. The Latin King was big as a motherfucker. He probably was 6'4". And the Mexican was a little motherfucker, but he had on his hairnet and he was ready to go. You know what I mean? He wasn't backing down from dude. Big as he was, he didn't back down from him. And then like that was like the day prior or even earlier that day. But there was stuff going on for a day or so, and they couldn't come to an agreement on whatever the issue was. And they locked them dudes in the gym. There was like some P Stones in there too. I guess the P Stones sided with the Latin Kings and was like trying to help them. I want to say I had a conversation with one after I got transferred from Canaan. We might have been on the bus together and had a conversation about it. Because when Canaan switched, they moved all the mediums out of there.
What was it like, man, for that to happen there, though? I mean, it was pretty brutal, right? Some people got stabbed.
Motherfuckers got flown out. All the Latin Kings got moved off the yard after that. And that was like one of the first big incidents. There was another incident there too with the Mexicans in Baltimore that had took place. But that was definitely way worse and way more tuned in. We were probably locked down for about a week, 2 weeks for that. And I mean, they knew who was involved, so it wasn't like they had to run around and,
Mexicans beefing with Baltimore.
I think that shit happened over a TV, man, over some shit like that. One of the Mexicans got knocked out over the TV, and then they came back really deep and that shit was like out of control in the yard. Like I seen like all these Mexicans running, man. Like I'm going to the school. I'm like, oh, I'm going to fuck this shit. Like they running. Like the doors hit the move. You know what I mean? The 10-minute move hit, and the Mexicans was running down the yard. Like I'm like, oh shit. Like, you know what I mean? You know it's going to go down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Who ends up winning?
Oh, the Mexicans. I mean, the Baltimore, like I said, there was a knockout. I'm seeing the Mexican when it came to the knives. I mean, it's too many of them.
I ask you that for a reason. There's dudes that are tuning in, women, maybe kids. People don't know what's really going on. But I mean, hey, look, when you got the numbers, and you got a bunch of dudes that are, ready to use that knife, things
now,
happen.
hey, listen, the Baltimore card, listen, as far as the respect, listen, I would say they one of the most respectable cars. I don't, because, and I
agree.
seen it.
Listen, I'm going to agree with you about the Baltimore car. And them dudes get busy. And they're serious. And they're respectful 99% of the time.
Right. They stand on that shit too. They stand on that. I mean, they stand on the rules heavily. You know what I'm saying? But it was probably only maybe, I don't know, 10 or 15 of them. You know what I'm saying? And you got all these Mexicans coming out the woodworks. You know what I mean? It just, you know what I mean? Like it just wasn't. It just was once. It was too many of them, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
When the numbers are down, man, it doesn't usually end up, going well. Same thing with the Latin Kings and the Mexicans over there at Canaan. It didn't work out too good for the Latin Kings, right?
Right. Correct.
Then with a couple of the dudes that were involved in that ended up getting stabbed, I ran into later on, in their time. But anyway, what's the most vicious thing that you may have seen at USP Canaan? Because Canaan's a dangerous place, man. Place where the cops got killed, all kinds of shit.
Right. Well, like I said, I was there when it still was considered an FCI. But like far as me seeing some shit, it was a fight there too. It was just a fight. And it got bad for one of the dudes. Like and it was a fist fight, but he was trashed. I mean, like blood all everywhere. No knife was involved. It was just hand to hand. They probably was homies too. Probably some interpersonal shit between two homies. They was from New York. He got mangled in that joint. Like he came out the cell and looked like somebody dumped a bucket of red paint on him. He still was walking and shit, but it just was a mess. You know what I mean? When you come out, you get handcuffed and you look like that. You know what I'm saying? You got bee stings everywhere all over you. Like, I don't know. Like it just was, and I didn't see the fight. I just seen the aftermath of it. Seeing some shit. I can't even really say I seen a stabbing when I was over there. I would probably have to think, but I didn't really. It was medium dudes there when I was there, but a motherfucker still can't confuse that with shit popping off. You know what I'm saying? There was one situation that it didn't come all the way out, but it almost was a fucking crash out mission. The Jamaicans, this one Jamaican, got in some shit with a Mexican and on a soccer field, and then he went and made up a story that a note came that said the Mexicans are supposed to go at any black, like a green light was given. This dude did this shit over a soccer game. Like he made this whole story up. You know what I'm saying? It was made up. There was no truth to it. No note came from nowhere, none of that. And so I'm in the day room and I see all the the black dudes going up top to the room. And you got dudes from New York, DC, Philly, everywhere. Dudes that talk, but you're not gonna see them in a room together, like on some. And I'm like, so I'm sitting down there and I'm like, yo, somebody I'm talking, I'm like, yo, what's going on? They're like, I don't know shit. I don't know, right? Later when they came out, one of the dudes I know, you know what I'm saying, I talked to him and he was like, yeah, note came down. It's war on it's war on this motherfucker shit. And I'm like, yo, and then like, now people start going to the yard and everybody's trying to like, get it figured out. And then now, all right, so my old ways come back. Cause now I'm like, all right, I gotta strap motherfuckers up. I'm breaking the fucking trash cans, the fiberglass joints, trying to make bangers, and kind of find out, that shit was a lie. They ran a Jamaican dude out of the jail. They got ran out.
I think I was in Raybrook with that dude because I heard that story, and I think I'm positive he was in my unit in Raybrook later on.
Tall guy, slim.
Tall guy, slim, kind of a little bit nuts in the head.
Light skin.
He was in my unit.
Right. Yeah. He I know some good men who also had went there. Like I said, when they start moving people, but he got ran out the joint. That shit was crazy, man. Because it's like if that shit goes through and then people die or stuff, you know what I mean? Like over you just making up some shit. I don't know if they beat him up. I don't know what they did to him, but I know he was gone. He got checked in.
Ask you this: as a black dude, right, in prison, and you hear, yo, there's a note, there's war, the Mexicans are getting ready to get at us. Do you get a little bit nervous or scared inside?
Fuck yeah, hell yeah. Because and then when I seen all the dudes going up there, I didn't go up there because they didn't tell me to come up there. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, so I'm like, damn. Then when they come out and they telling me what's going on, I'm like, shit. It's just like, it's just for real. Like, yeah, it's for real, but it's going down. Yo, you still can make joints. A couple dudes asking me, like I said, I started trying to push it together. I remember if I had my eyeglass case, and I didn't even know all that whole time it's fucking metal in that joint. I broke that motherfucker apart and started folding that shit up and sharpening that. Like I'm saying, the whole time I had this joint, I didn't know it was if you take the, when you put the glasses in there and it got like the little nice little, tray for like the little, whatever velvet or whatever's in there, you peel that shit back, that shit was metal.
You were getting ready for a war that, was a bunch of bullshit, but
right.
You were ready because look, you could die in there, right?
Right, definitely. And then, like I said, this is after the shit happened with the Latin Kings and the Mexicans. So when you hear these rumors, we don't really know. And then I don't even know how they figured out that it was some bullshit. I don't know if dude confessed to his homeboys or whatever, but it got figured out before any blood was shed. Thank God, you know what I'm saying? That didn't have to happen behind some bullshit.
Times you get sentenced to? How much time did you do straight in the feds?
120 months was my federal sentence. Had a 50 gram or more indictment. And right, got 120 months.
You got 10 years. You ended up in some pretty dangerous places. But really, I hate to say it this way, where it's not a significant amount of time compared to other people. 10 years is a lot of time, but you're in some places with some dangerous dudes, right?
Right. And then like just the way I'm ending up. Well, when I went to Allenwood for having a knife, not because I started in a medium. I was obviously a medium level inmate. Didn't have any violence on my shit, none of that. Never really had violent crimes at that point. You know what I'm saying? I never technically had a violent crime. So when you start going to these places and then like, now I'm in Allenwood and it's everybody got 100 fucking years, you know what I'm saying? And
I mean, it gets real. So you end up leaving Canaan. Where do you go after that?
I went to McKeon when they did the moves. They did the big moves, and they're like, "Yeah, all y'all's getting out of here." I'm mad as shit because listen, I'm eating that fucking Canaan. Oh, I'm doing pretty good over there, and then they gonna move us. You know what I mean? Like, so they sent me to McKeon, but I couldn't stay there because of my medical. I got asthma, so they have like a care level thing and shit. They only kept me at McKeon for 30 days, and then they sent me to Farrington. And I finished my time at Farrington. I had
You've been home now.
Right now, I'm saying this was when I did my Fed time was from 2001 until 2011. I had came home. I went back for 5 years. I did a 2-year state bid, and then I did like my federal violation. I came home from the feds again in 2016 off my violation. I stayed home from 16 to 19, and then I caught another case for fleeing, eluding, and it turned into an aggravated assault on a police officer. And I went upstate for like almost 2 years, and now I've been home 5 years from that.
How old are you now? How old are you?
I'm 48, but I'm 27 in jail years.
I still tell people I feel like I'm 24 still, right?
Right. Yeah, I'm 27 in jail years, man. I make Johnson. You got to get the bowl of rice. You got to get the honey bun and carry the one, man. And that makes me 27 in jail years.
That's crazy. Right. Bro, you're crazy. You're a wild dude. Anybody watching this video that was in prison, they know you, even if they never been in prison with you. Because there's dudes like you in every single prison, man. There's always that hustle dude. Right, the dude that.
Hey, what's funny? When every jail I've been in, there was a dude named Radio Shack. Man, I swear to God, like, or
Have they
radio.
called you? Did
Motherfucker.
they call you Radio Shack?
No, but not me. But that was like, because you said that they know me, and there's always a dude in every joint I went to named Radio Shack. So I'm like, you talking about Radio Shack from Kentucky? No, he from Mississippi. I'm like, oh shit, there's more than one Radio Shack. I guess that shit used to fuck me up, man. That Radio Shack name, but dude, to fix the radios, gotta have a guy fix radios, right?
What's it like though to come home, do all that time, then you catch that other bid when you're 44 maybe, and you're
Right.
on your way back to state prison? What's it like in your mind? Like,
Yeah,
damn,
that
bro.
shit. Honestly, like, so when I came home in 2000, well, first before I even went to the feds, I did 4 years upstate. Then I came home in 2000. In 2001, I caught the Fed case. Originally, it wasn't a Fed case though. They did me dirty. I had a state charge. I had a clothing store. My store got raided for selling drugs out of the store, whatever, and they did an illegal search. Like, they came to my store, they couldn't find nothing. They called my PO. He comes and hits my car out back. He finds like a pistol and some drugs, right? But the police helped him gain entry to my car, which made the search illegal because the police didn't have a warrant and they can't help my PO create criminal conduct. It's a thing called stalking horse. I'm sure you heard of stalking horse, right? So, but then when I made bail on the charge, but I went back upstate on my detainer, they turned the case over to the feds. And then that's how I caught the Fed case. I never had a Fed case. I mean, I do my numbers, but I was doing numbers, but I wasn't never no big balling ass type dude. I had a little clothing store. I took the money I made and, my hustling mentality, I'm trying to flip it into legit. You know what I mean? That's what I wanted to do. That was my whole thing. And I live in a town that didn't really have, stuff like that. You got to go, 20 miles to, get decent clothes and shit. And I had a vision for that. And I did this at 24 years old. I was young. You know what I'm saying? I'm just coming out the jail. I came home with nothing. 6 months, I opened up a store. So, that's how I caught my Fed case. But going to the feds, coming home, and then, I still was in that mindset of you mean? And, I want to get out there and get bread. I get booked. I get jammed up. I go back, do 2 years upstate, 2.5 in the feds, come back out again. And then I stayed home and I came back again on that same shit. And then I catch that fleeing and looting, that honestly, it was just a situation where I just blacked out on some shit and just didn't feel like I was on bail for another fleeing charge. I had several fleeings. Let me just say that. At one point I was a runner. That's what I was gonna do. I probably had something on me and I was getting the fuck away from y'all. You know what I mean? And then that night when they're like, you got a warrant, you know what I mean? So I boogie, the cop ends up trying to jump in the car, he falls and shit, and it just was goofy. But going back upstate, at that age, especially with COVID, this joint, that's why I say the COVID bid that I did from when I went upstate in 2020, and mind you, I only had to go up there for 9 months, and I'm gonna make parole because I got 9 months left to my minimum. I already served most of my time in the county. Man, that shit was the worst, like, more than any time I ever done. Like, the COVID bid, because, and then I caught COVID, right? I caught COVID in there. So, and I catch it a month before I'm supposed to go home. So guess what? I lose my date because I can't go to the halfway house with COVID. They put me in the hole for 2 weeks with no fucking showers. I'm bird bathing every day. And I didn't do shit though. They won't give me my TV. They won't give me nothing. They just got me in the fucking hole like I got a write up. You know what I mean? And that bit right there was crazy. I mean, it was just crazy, man. The state system in PA, man, is not the feds. And the feds is shitty now too. From what I'm hearing from people that's still in there now, it's not the feds that I was in or you were in, because they changed everything. They took microwaves, they take shit. My homie was in, I want to say Hazleton. He said they was getting bag lunches for dinner for a year when COVID hit.
It's horrible, man. It changed. The state system over there in PA, a lot of violence over there.
Yeah, some of the jails, it gets like that. There's starting to be like more gang activity from, I started going upstate in 96. So back then it wasn't, as bad with the gang shit, but now there's more gang activity going on. You got some white gangs, of course the general black gangs, Crips, Bloods. So there is more violence in the state now. Some of the jails probably not as, just like in the feds, like there's worse places than others, you know what I'm saying? But there is definitely there's gang activity now. So when you got the gang activity, that's what made the feds always so violent, because you got so many different people from so many different places in the gang shit. You know what I mean? Because if you take that out of the equation, then it's probably not that way. You know what I mean? But now PA is getting like that too, because you got like just different gangs in PA. The shit done lingered up from Maryland. They got I forget the white gang that's in Maryland, but DMI, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Those gangs are lingering into the PA system now. So
but you're home now. You're free, never going back.
right. No, man. I've been at the same job for the last 4 years. I still dibble and dab. I do music. Like I told you, I was doing music and different ventures and business ventures I want to get into. Like I told you, when I was in jail, I want to say when I went back on my Fed violation, that's when I started fucking with the card game. And I already had the wordplay to do poems and stuff like that. So I started doing poetry first, like writing poems and then selling poems. And then dudes would send them to their chicks and they would show me the letters the girls were writing back. And I just got good at it to where I really became like, really super good at it. And eventually my end game with that is to get them joints in the jails, because I know the money I was making just off having it on one unit. So if I was able to get it into institutions and get them on commissary long term, I mean, even if I was just making, 25 cents, 50 cents a card, I'm saying that long-term money is there, you know what I mean? And it's something I'm really good at. It's just about really getting that shit off the ground and finding out all the ins and outs of how to actually get it in there. And the story of it would be good too. A former inmate, comes full circle and ends up doing this. Plus, it keeps people in tune with their families, because you've been in there, man. That's why people make cards, because the ones they sell in commissary is trash.
With you, man. And I know you had that wide world of reels over on Instagram. You were pumping that thing, doing that for years, and they took it down on you, right?
Right. Yeah, they canceled my page probably like 3 days ago. I actually tried to make a new one and they dubbed that one too. Someone's telling me it's because of my device. If I make any new ones, the device might be like, they might have it where the device, I would have to get a new phone. I don't even know what I'm gonna do. Cause listen, it's crazy too, because I had a Facebook that was attached to the Rails page. They killed the Facebook page too.
I think they're connected, Instagram and Facebook, right?
Right. So yeah, so I had them linked, and the Facebook was a Facebook I had, I want to say, for 12 years. The Instagram was newer, but it definitely hurt. And one of my homies too, we do a lot together, and he was like, damn, yo, I thought this was gonna be the one to get us, because we want to use it for other stuff. Like you use it to build it, and I have funny shit on there, but then I want to, I can upcoming artists, or just promo shit like that. Like that's the end game. That's how we make the money. People pay you for promo and people pay you for ads and shit. And I didn't really even get to it because they shut me down. I was a little bit under 10,000.
Crazy. But you know what, man? Hey, look, you're out, you're free, you got your job, you've been doing it for 4 years. You've been through some dangerous things, seen some dangerous things, but you're out here and you're making it and you're free. Anything you want to say before we get ready to go?
Yeah, man, especially to the youth, man, you just got to think about what you're doing before you do it, man, because they got a place for you waiting. And I know everybody sees all the shit going on, like they just had Big U, Lil Durk. I mean, all these guys, it's just it's sad that like people like Lil Durk, they get caught up in stuff, and he's the breadwinner for his family. Obviously, he changed his family forever, and then some shit like that happened. Then Yellow Beezy just got bagged. I mean, all this shit going on for people that's getting some money and changing their families for the better, and then they got to take falls like that. No matter what ends up happening, at this point, they in a bad situation. And just like I said, for the youth to make this, to understand the decision that they make is going to affect them long term, and can affect a lot of other people too.
Well, listen, man, definitely appreciate you coming on, sharing your story, your experiences. If you like what we're doing, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share the video. Someone might need to hear it. With respect, until tomorrow, we're out.